sem mais delongas, eu queria trazer para o palco aqui o Daniel Matros. Ele vive atualmente em Dubai e trabalha junto com a agência de aperfeiçoamento de comunicação digital e marketing, né? Ele trabalhou como produtor do Battlefield e tem sua própria fundação de caridade e realiza arrecadação de fundos para orfanatos através de videogames, tá certo? Ou seja, você pode ajudar as pessoas com videogames. E outro cara, tá certo? Que é o Kjell. Ele trabalhou pelo mundo inteiro como designer de games e produtor de franquias como Battlefield, Mirror's Edge, Need for Speed, Angry Birds, World of Warcraft e City Skylines. Ele tem um padrão de atuação bem competitivo, se tornou bem sucedido em esportes, reivindicando um título de floorball em campeonato suíço e 2 títulos consecutivos em Battlefield, tá certo? Então são 2 caras fantásticos e eu queria uma grande salva de palmas. Oi? Uma grande salva de palmas para o Daniel e Tim. Okay, guys, the clapping was your cue.
Oh, that was
clapping.
I was so confused.
Já está liberado o stream,
so
já me
confused,
avisaram.
guys. So sorry.
The clapping. Ok, já que eles não entenderam, uma salva de palmas!
Thank you, man.
So the reason for the chairs is I just turned 30, so I kind of need to nurture my old bones, and I'm a little hungover too. So yeah, that's why. How are you guys doing? Is everyone okay? Everyone feeling well? Good stuff. So my name is Daniel, as you heard before. I'm from Sweden, worked at DICE before on Battlefield. Team manager with him at Fnatic for 3 years almost, from the start to the end. I live in Dubai today, interesting place. And I'm here at Campus Party. This is my 4th campus party. I did one in Colombia, Recife, Sao Paulo, and this one. It's the 4th one. Over to you, Tim.
Yeah, I'm Tim, like he told you before. I was with Daniel on Fnatic for about 3 years. Before that, I was at DICE for 7 years doing Battlefield, Mirror's Edge, Need for Speed, a bunch of games. And then I went to Rovio, did a couple of games there, like Angry Birds. And this is my first campus party, and I'm really happy to be here.
Good, let's welcome Tim to his first campus party. Come on, here we go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. So I noticed we actually have a presentation served for you guys, by the way, but it's way over there. So
do you want me to stand over there and
yeah,
fix it?
if you like to do that, thank you. I'm older than you, that's why I need to sit down.
All right, let's see if we can get this on the screen, maybe.
On the screen?
I don't know how to do this. Is there a technical person that can help us out with
this?
this?
Get a technical person to do this. So yeah, just a quick one. What we're going to talk about today is, so we built a team, and we joined Fnatic, and how we led our team to 5 championships in a row, and what the steps were, what we did to create like the perfect esport team, how we got the team together in terms of sponsorship, organization, dealing with leagues, rules, and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's one of my major accomplishments in life, at least. Esports is a big industry. It's a tough one to get into as well. It's not the easiest one. It's very crowded. You have a lot of good teams, a lot of good managers, a lot of good awards and prizes to be fought around. But I think we want to tell you more about how we actually got into it, and also what we did with that knowledge that we had. Anyone can build a team, right? Anyone can win everything. But the most important thing is how you win it and how you build this team around the different achievements, the different results you want to achieve by doing so. Don't have this running yet. Oh, there we go. We can just go to the next slide.
Go ahead?
Yeah, go to the next one. There we go. So how we found these guys, these 5 guys here, from Russia, Netherlands, Spain, and then Tim and I from Sweden. So what we did was, early on in 2011, there was a team called Epsilon Esports. Now this team played Battlefield, and I was working at DICE at that time, and I was scouting these guys. I was following them because I wanted to join an esports team, because my background is in esports. I played Nations Cup for Team Sweden. Tim did as well for various different games. Tim was a Quake player. I was more of a Battlefield and Counter-Strike player way back in the days. So this was getting old now, but this was like 15, 16 years ago. So yeah, we found these 5 guys, and I approached them and said, why don't I help lead your team? Because they wanted to go better. They wanted to go big in esports. It was pretty much a tier 3 team. Tier 3 team is basically just one sponsor, no salary, no insurance, travels here and there, and whatnot. So what I did was I spoke to the team manager, and I became the team manager then, and he moved up to become the CEO of the organization. And I had to take care of all the boring stuff, such as budgets, travel fees, visas, money, organization. Luckily, it was a really good team to start with. I mean, they were really good friends. It was a good team. We were winning a lot. By our tournament in DreamHack 2012, I think we won our 4th in a row with Epsilon Esports. That was not to say that the team was good, because they were good. They were not great. We won basically because we practiced a lot. These guys were all students. So they studied 3-4 hours a day, then they went back home and played a bunch of games. And I had a full-time job, but it wasn't that rough, so I could still coach them in the weekends and whatnot. So how we got involved with Fnatic is I met Karn at a bar in London. Of course, it was a bar. Met him in a bar, and we talked about joining Fnatic as a team with these 5 guys here. It was a pretty tough process. They wanted to know what the team has to offer Fnatic. Why do you want to join Fnatic? Such a big powerhouse of an organization. Massive organization, massive amounts of money behind them. So we're asked the question, why do we actually want to join them? And I said, well, exactly for that reason. We want to go bigger. We want to have salaried players. We want to be able to travel more to show what the players can do. We want to be part of a good organization that can provide us equipment to become better and also work in a bigger organization. So he wanted to see the roadmap for what the game had to offer. He wanted to see our track record, our CV basically, what we could offer, how well we play, and what our plans are for the future. So this was in 2012, in September 2012. And that night when Fnatic offered us the contract, it was just 2 nights after I talked to him, and he said, this is the contract you have. So it was a basic salary, it was a basic bonus, it was equipment, it was travel here and there to different events and to win different kinds of things. So 2 days after that, we got that contract. But we didn't sign. So they went back to the organization, Epsilon, which I was still a part of, and it was really like bad of me to go against that organization and say, we're going to take your players, we're going to take them to Fnatic. So that was tough to handle as well, but they counter-offered a contract. So they counter-offered $500, they counter-offered insurance, they counter-offered equipment and whatnot. But we didn't have a guarantee that they could actually deliver that. Whereas Fnatic, we had a guarantee that they will get their salaries, they will get their travels, they will get their equipment and whatnot. So 1 hour after we got that counteroffer from Epsilon, we looked at it together. The whole team was together in London for a Battlefield event. And 1 hour after, we signed the contract. And I couldn't think of a better person to bring on board than Tim. So I could manage the managerial stuff, the boring stuff, the budgets, the sponsors, all that kind of, the results, the boring things, they're not too much fun. So Tim could actually focus on being a player analyst and tactics and getting the players up to speed, being good players, a team dynamic as well. So I think Tim can explain more on that as well. If we go to the next slide there, clicker starts working.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely dive into that. So I mean, when I came on, there we go. When I came on, what I did was I kind of implemented this process into how we were going to reshape the entire structure of our team. So before, it was, like Daniel said, it was a lot of practice all the time, but it wasn't very clear what the people were going to practice doing. So what I did was I had this 3-step process for how we were going to become really good. So we sort of defined a goal of what we wanted to achieve. And obviously the first thing we wanted to achieve was win a major tournament, right? And in order to do that, I then had to find what is the problem? Why can't we win a massive tournament, right? And I figured out that the main thing that I really wanted to focus on in the beginning was the communication between the players, because they were really, really good mechanical players. They were really good at aiming. They were really good at, figuring out weird things in the levels that they can do in order to win. But they just didn't talk enough to each other. So I found that as sort of a focus for them to do. And then the third step of the process that we used was basically the method that we were going to achieve it. So in the communications thing, it was basically me and Daniel sitting with them at every single practice in the beginning and just telling them that, no, you got to start talking more. You got to start talking more. Like, everything they say has to be on point, and it has to be like crucial information for other players. So that's sort of the process that I implemented, and it worked out really, really well, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the most important things in terms of any esport game, whether you play League of Legends or Counter-Strike or Battlefield or we're joking around Path of Neo, or if you play some kind of game together as a team, the most important thing is speed. Because speed makes sure that your opponent doesn't know where you're going, or knows where you're going but can't catch up, right? Whether it's a racing game or whatever it is, right? So I think from what Tim explained here, to get the communication down, where is everyone going to be standing? What's everyone aiming at? What objective are we taking now? Are we going for A or B? Are we going for flag A or C? That kind of communication needs to be pretty native. You need to know what you're saying. You need to know where your other player is going to be all the time. That's when you have these successful teams like Fnatic Counter-Strike or Ninjas in Pajamas Counter-Strike or Battlefield team and Fnatic was, we always knew where we were at every point in time. We always knew we were responding. We always knew where we were going, and that comes with good teamwork as well. And when you know where you are standing, when you know where your players are going, you can make faster decisions, and that's where the speed comes in. So any kind of esport game is basically about beating the other person by decisions and speed, and that's what we really, really try to practice. I mean, I suck at Photoshop, so I drew things in Paint for Tim and his team to follow. I see you're laughing back. You've used Paint too, right? You use Paint all the time, right? Yeah, there you go. So I just drew things up. So again, speed is the most important thing. And speed comes through communication, comes through tactics, comes through strategy. So just working through that layer, and it was not an overnight process. I mean, Tim, how long were you working with these guys for, just to get that speed equivalent together?
I mean, I don't think we ever stopped working on it. It just, like, every single tournament that we went to, there was always other players for other teams that had been practicing like crazy because we were on the top and they really wanted to beat us. So every single tournament we carried on going for it and carried on practicing even more on the speed thing. But I think for the first tournament, we worked for 4 months, I think, just to get the communications to work and just to get that speed that you were talking about. And it worked out pretty well.
And we failed miserably because we didn't even win. So, yeah.
I think we won the very first one, and then we lost the second one.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, we can go into some statistics,
yeah,
right?
let's show them what we had. So you want to run through that?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, we looked it up this morning actually because we weren't sure exactly how much we had won, right? And it turned out that we actually won 47 tournaments. We did some very simple math, and it equals out to, I think, about 360 or something matches played. And out of those matches, we had a win ratio of 91.4%. So, I mean, over 90% of every single match that we played in a tournament, we won.
And that's pretty huge. I mean, you're looking at that number thinking, how the hell is that even possible? But we played a lot of games. And I think every weekend, 3 times a week, we did play games. 91.4% win ratio, that's counted on the elimination one. So not 2-0, 2-1, or 3-1. That counts as a series win, basically. So, yeah, more matches buried into that one. But, yeah, I mean, I think my math is really bad, by the way. 8.6%, right? Is that? Yeah, 8.6%. Those 8.6% that we actually lost could be down to bad form. We traveled the day before. We're just not in sync because you can't always be 100%. Some people say you can always be 100%. You have to be 100%. I think no, that's not even possible. No one can be 100% all the time. A lot of these times where we're traveling a lot as well. I mean, Europe is small. It's not like Brazil where it takes like 11 hours to get anywhere. But travel time, readjusting. I mean, we had a Gamescom championship. It was a whole week, boot camp, or 2 weeks, boot camping, tournament, travel, bad food, bad sleep, lots of beer, of course. And then coming back down to 1 day of rest after this whole decompression period, heading into another tournament. So how do you readjust to that? I mean, how do you actually set your mind across to, we just won the biggest thing we could win, now we have to play a small tournament? and we're so tired. Like we haven't even thought about what we're gonna do. So a lot of these games we lost were basically we're just gonna go in and have fun and play the way we want to. And I mean, of course, we had fun all the time. But I think when you're playing well, you're having fun. When you're not playing well, you're not having fun. So that's the 8.6% that we had there, basically. A lot of matches and a lot of awards. Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you want to run through all of the major tournaments that we played and sort of talk us through how every single event was and how we adjusted the schedule for it?
Go for that one. So yeah, DreamHack Winter 2013. This is a fun one. I was a bit fatter, and I was standing over there in the cap.
And I'm so small, you can't even see me, but I am behind one of the tall players.
Yeah, I can't believe I actually wore that shirt, by the way. So yeah, no, DreamHack Winter 2013 was a really interesting one. It was the first tournament coming out with Battlefield 4, and everyone who's played Battlefield 4 during that period, 2013, you know, was very buggy, was pretty laggy, wasn't a very solid game. So it affected the tournament, basically. It affected, I think every team had issues with the game. So it was all about working around the issues. Unexpected things were happening in the game, which were pretty tricky to predict. So the whole tournament could have gone either way. We could have crashed out in the first round. We could have won everything in the end, which we obviously did. But I think DreamHack Winter 2013 was our first real session. I think we had 1 month to prepare for this one. And a lot of teams altogether had 1 month to prepare for this one, plus the alpha and beta, plus the closed game sessions that were going on. So we pretty much knew what we were going to see. We pretty much knew who we were going to play and how it was going to affect us during that time. So yeah, our first few games were pretty rough. I think we lost against our major rivals in the group stage. They came back out, and this was the final picture. We actually won that tournament. It was good. I mean, communication was key. We weren't really there yet. Strategy-wise, we were definitely not there. It was more like YOLO gaming, pretty much. We just went in and thought we were playing really well at the time, which, when we're looking back, we actually weren't. But luckily, we're playing better than anyone else. So I think that's good. If everyone else was shit, we were less shit, basically. But yeah, we managed to win, so that was good. And of course, having won this one, we came out with a huge self-esteem. We knew what we had to fix. We had to fix communication, we had to fix strategy, we had to fix placement on the map. So that was Tim's side, right? That was Tim's whole tactical side. And my side was more, okay, now we've told Fnatic that we've actually won a game. They can see what we do, this was the most important game for us. If we hadn't won DreamHack Winter 2013, we would not have been Fnatic still. There was so much pressure on us to actually win this one. I remember Karn coming out. He was really happy. We was angry we lost in the group stages. Came out in the final, said, I hope you guys win this one. Otherwise, we have to talk. And it's never fun to hear that, so luckily we won. So we can go to the next one. Tim can show us the bad side of things.
Just quickly on this one. I mean, like you said, we were really brute forcing our way through this one. And we didn't really know what we were doing. We were really trying to figure things out, but we just didn't have the time for it. And I think that really showed with all the overconfidence from this win. It really showed in the next one here. The ESL or EMS Winter 2013-2014, which was the first like really major tournament that we went to, and we didn't even make it to quarterfinals. We just got kicked out really early. The communication wasn't there. We didn't have the speed, like Daniel said. We didn't really have the strategy for it either. So we were really, really devastated at this point. And we sort of realized that we need to change something in order to make this work, because the team synergy and the team spirit, it wasn't really there. So Daniel, do you want to talk about our solution to it?
Yeah, so I think first of all, for this tournament, we thought we were ready, which we obviously weren't because we crashed out in the group stage. But overall, it just didn't feel like a good tournament. I mean, from our side, we didn't talk to each other. The mood was bad, and it was just not the way it's supposed to be, not the way it used to be before. So we actually had to figure out what the hell was going on. And we managed to pin that down to effort, it's because we were doing everything well. We were doing exactly what we were supposed to do. We were playing our tactics, we were playing our game, we kept losing. And I don't know, like as Brazilian soccer fans, you know that as well. I mean, you have a really good national team, but sometimes you lose, like against Germany 7-1. I didn't want to pick that. I usually bring that up, by the way, just so you know. Might be my last time at campus party. No, but like, no, I mean, seriously, Brazil, best football team in the world. Like, maybe second, but still, one of the best ones. They play so well. They have the best players in the world, and they have a good tactic, good strategy, but sometimes it's just not enough, right? As a Swedish football fan, I know for sure, because we never win anything. We lose we have Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That's the only one that wins anything. But again, back to this. So, best team, best players, highest salary, best organization behind us. I mean, our closest one was SK, for instance, but we still lost. Like, how is that even possible? No one could even believe it. So the only reason we lost this tournament was effort. The only reason was because everyone wasn't putting in their 100%. We were tired. We had one player on the team that was really, really lagging behind. That was really not like playing on par with everyone else. So we really need to deal with that. And you can't take a player and switch him out. It's not football, right? You can't just switch one out and bring another one in. So what we had to do is we had to make a plan for that. So we sort of had to take the hit for this one and say, okay, this is not going to go well. We are going to lose this one. So after that, Tim had identified the French guy, right? French guy we recruited.
Yeah, exactly. I even at DreamHack, I was sort of feeling that we weren't really on point. We won the tournament, but we just weren't there quality-wise. So I was worried, even from DreamHack, that we weren't going to win the next one, and obviously we didn't, right? So what we ended up doing then was basically I had to admit that I should have made the call earlier to switch out this player.
You should have.
I should have.
Really
And that's on me. We could have had 7 in a row, and now it's only 5. But no, so what we ended up doing was in the grand final at DreamHack, I met this French player that I thought was really, really good. So I really wanted to draft him, but no one else on the team wanted it to. Like they wanted every other player in the world before they wanted that French guy.
Yeah, I mean to that as well. When you build a team, you need to take a look at what people can actually bring to the team, not just how they play, right? I mean, a good player needs to work with the team, needs to first of all have skill, right? Be a good player. Second of all, tactics are important. Blending in with the team, being a good person as well. You don't want to play with someone who's an asshole, right? You want to play with someone that's a good person, a good player. Nice to play with, that lifts the team up, you know, and we just didn't really have that at that point. We had one person at that point who was like that, but we needed more. We needed more of a good feeling in the team. We didn't just want to be a team that wins and whatever. We wanted to do good things with our players. So Tim identified this French guy that we recruited and put on the team. But before that, we had to go through Fnatic on getting the players, and it's always tricky switching a player in organizations. So when you see organizations like Ninjas in Pajamas or Fnatic or any other team switching players, it's actually not a day and night switch. It's actually a long process to get that because you have to vet the player. You have to make sure that player is not cheating, for instance, or the player is actually a good person to play with, or skill-wise doesn't cheat, skill-wise is on top 100%. And Tim luckily identified one and put it over to Fnatic, and I think it took like 1 week until we got that player on board.
Yeah, it was. I was actually on vacation when the switch happened, but my entire vacation was maybe 2 weeks, and 1.5 weeks out of that vacation, I was just working constantly on trying to talk to the other organization, trying to talk to Fnatic, and get the whole contract kind of drawn up, and convincing the players that this is the actual person that we need to have on the team, because he contributes, not like Daniel said, not only as a very skilled player, but also he brings a lot of good dynamic into the team. He really brings the team spirit in. So I really wanted that player, and after 1.5 weeks of fighting everyone in the organization, I got my will, and I got that player.
Yeah, I didn't like that player at all. I thought we could do much better. I think he was good, but I think he needed time to grow to get into the team better, skill-wise, that is. I mean, personality-wise, he's one of the greatest people I've ever met. But I think skill-wise, he was not what we were looking for. But luckily, he was, according to Tim. So he actually, if we go to the second slide here, he actually won this one for us, which was really nice. Which I never thought would happen. You want to take us through this one quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. So like Daniel said, we just brought this new player into the team. The team is used to playing with another guy, and now you have a new guy here that needs to sort of come into the way that we work, right? So we really had to work on communication again for this one, just to make sure that he understood what his role was in the team, and so that he so that he could talk to everyone else on the team in the same sort of lingo that the team was used to talking in. And it took a really long time. And I think even though we won that one we were on the way, I could see that we were about to grow in the right direction. I still don't think that we were really there yet. We still had ways to go in terms of communication and team play.
Yeah, this was a rough one to win. We thought we would win it we knew it was going to be a little tricky to win this one, but we actually managed to steam through this one. But in the final, we had some opposition, but we managed to win. I think it was double overtime or something when we finally won. But yeah, going through which direction? Is this left or right? This is right. This direction is right.
That's
yeah, okay,
left
cool.
for you, right
left
for them.
yeah, right for you. Long day so far. So if we go from right here, you have Eric up there. He was just a fragger, not the nastiest person I've ever dealt with in my life. So nasty that I actually wanted to kick him out of the team, pick someone else. He was really good though, really, really good as a player, and he really had his moments. But personality-wise, the worst person I've ever dealt with in my life. Russian guy next to Eric there on second right. One of the best players I've ever seen. Smart, good to play with, tactically convincing,
But
and
so
everything.
lazy.
You want to do the next ones?
Yeah, so like I said, the Russian guy was super skilled, but he was very lazy. He was a really nice guy, but really lazy. And then in the middle we have our Estonian guy, Valutaja, and he was a really nice guy, really good player, and he really had the brains in the team. I think he was the one that really could come up with super good tactics, and
He was a smart one.
yeah, he was really the smart one in the bunch. And then second from the left, I think it is Morte, the Dutch guy from the Netherlands. He was the team captain. He was not a great fragger. He didn't have the best aim, but he always knew how to motivate everyone else on the team and how to get people into the right positions. And he was always the one that took one for the team. He could draw 4 players from the opposing team to his position, so that everyone else on our team could focus on getting the actual objectives. And then the last guy is the French guy, the one that we just brought in. He was really hyped, and he was really hungry because he had been there in the finals against us at DreamHack and lost against us, and he had never won a major tournament before. So he was really hungry for that victory, and a really skilled player, but just mentality-wise, I don't think he really fit into the team from the very beginning. That was something that we had to do to sort of shape him to work with our team.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we did. So a big part of our job at Fnatic was not to just go to these tournaments and support them during the tournaments, was also before the tournaments setting their roles and our expectations on their roles. For instance, Tom here from right, wait, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth person from the right. He's always been the captain, so we had to train him into when you are a captain, you should do this, you should say this, you should lead your team forward. If anyone's feeling down, pick up the pace, draw these 4 guys. You're pretty much an anchor on the team. And then we built the other roles as well, so everyone knew their role. Everyone knew what was expected of them. Because I think a player that underperforms doesn't know what's expected of him or her. I mean, these are really good players. There's a lot of good players out there, but if you don't know what's expected from you in a team, what your dynamic is, then you can't really perform as well as you think you would, basically. Because in a team game, you depend on everyone else, right? If it's a 1 versus 1 game, then you're fine. But in a team, you need to make sure you cover for everyone that's out there that's playing with you all the time. So you can go to the next one real quick here.
Yeah, so I mean, like Daniel said, when we came into Gamescom 2014, it was the biggest tournament of our career so far, and we really felt like the roles weren't really defined. So what we really did for this one was just make sure that every single player knows exactly what type of role he has on the team. What on different maps, where is this guy going to be? Where is he going to play? Who is it that's going to go in and capture flags? Who is it that is going to stay back and act as a beacon for the others in the team? Who is going to draw the attention in other directions? And that's, I think, the main thing that we really focused on for this tournament.
Yeah, and the fact that Fnatic told us you cannot lose this tournament, under any circumstance. You cannot lose this one.
But I think, we had a lot of pressure on us from the organization in order to win, right? Like we really had to win because there was going to be tens of thousands of people watching this live, and Fnatic is a really big brand, and they don't want to lose. They really want to win, and that's how they get their money, right? But I think especially Daniel, did a really good job of taking that responsibility on himself and then delegating it to me, and making sure that the players never felt any of that pressure, so they could always focus just on the game that was in front of them.
Yeah, that's a level of stress is good, but if you're too stressed, you're going to underperform. You're not going to do very well because you're always going to have that in the hindsight. So that's why I said in the interview up there, when you're climbing a mountain, you only climb as fast as you want to, right? You put one foot ahead of the other, and then you put one arm up, and then you drag yourself up, and then you put the other arm up, you drag yourself up. So you do everything slowly and methodic, whatever. You do it quickly, or slowly, but you do it in a way that fits you well. That's better. And I think that's what we try to teach these guys. Take it game per game. Learn from every game you play. Every opponent is different, but they also have the same weakness, is that they're just not better than you, at that point at least. So we just really, really need to be better than them at any point. I think we crashed through the group stage. I think we won everything in the group stage as big as we could. And then we reached the finals. We had our little opposition, but then we won this one. So it was a pretty easy tournament to win. In that sense, in the end, just because we were really, really prepared for it as well. And from Fnatic's side, they were really proud of us as well. But from Fnatic's side, they expected to see the amount of money they're investing in the team. How is that transferring into your effort, basically? So how does your effort count when the money comes in? It's basically, we show them training reports, we show them our training stats, we show them a plan on how we're going to approach things, and post game, how do we wind the players down? How do we wind the players up? So it's a huge process involved in just getting the team through a tournament. A tournament is 4 days for actually playing it, or 3 days for actually playing it, but the process is huge behind it just to get the team ready. Just go to the next ones real quick as well.
Yeah, so the ESL One Fall 2014 was, I think, the season where we won every single cup leading up to the grand finals. I don't think we lost a single game in the entire season, and that was just because we were so focused on getting that communication down and making sure that everyone on the team knew exactly what role they had. And because they were so comfortable in the role they had, you get this trust between the team, right? So I know that Daniel is going to perform, or Daniel knows that I'm going to perform, so I don't need to think about anything else. I don't need to worry about anything else. And that trust really made the decision-making really, really quick. And thanks to the quick decision-making, we could just outsmart and outplay every other team out there because we were just so much faster than they were.
Yeah, you win with speed. You always win with speed, so... we can skip to another one. We just won everything here, so we can go to the second one. It was pretty tricky. This was a tough one. This was against a Brazilian team, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think this was the first time we met the Brazilian team.
And no one in Europe, because this is all very Europe-centric, right? Esports today is still pretty much Europe-centric, unless it's South Korea or Asia. So it was the first time we met a team from Brazil, actually. What were they called? They were...
Team Dexterity.
Dexterity, right. So we're playing against them, and everyone lost to this team. Like every single team lost against Dexterity at this point, and we still hadn't played Dexterity at all. So we were pretty nervous, and it came down to the final, and Dexterity had crushed everyone in the tournament. They won everything, just very simply. Games took 10 minutes, then they had won everything. And we went on to the final. We had a pretty rough tournament. I mean, we needed a couple things to work on. So we came to the final, we played against Dexterity, and I remember being really nervous. We had no idea if we're actually going to win, because usually after all this time, we came into the final, we knew how we were going to play. We thought, okay, we're going to play our game, but our game would not work against these guys. So we had to figure out another tactic, and we're all in the bathroom together, separately, and thinking out of a tactic that we're going to play. And we were just thinking, just let them come to us. They can play the speed. We'll anchor, and we'll sit down, and we'll wait for them to come. And then we'll just counterattack all the time. Something that we've never done before. Something we usually never do in a game like this. And that worked. We won 3 in a row. That's three. That was a best out of 5. We won 3-0, and we won the whole tournament. So
Yeah,
that
exactly.
worked.
I mean, we were used to the way that European teams play normally, and it's in comparison to South American teams. European teams play very slowly. They're always relying on tactics. They're always relying on being in the right spot on the map at a certain point, right? And here comes this Brazilian team, and I had to stay up for a week in a row just to look at how this Brazilian team plays, because we've never seen it before. And what I realized was they rely on raw skill a lot. Like, they are really, really fast, and they are really good at aiming. So we really had to change up the pace and the strategy. And thankfully, just sitting back and letting them run into us really worked out for us in the end.
I think you see this, and if you follow a lot of esports, you can see this a lot in Counter-Strike, for instance, where let's say Fnatic are playing against Virtus Pro, where they completely switch tactic when they play against bigger teams like that. You usually have Olaf Meister or used to be JW back in the days, where they used to cover certain areas and then just rush. When they play against Virtus Pro, they just don't, because they usually step down. They let them dictate the pace, and they just counterattack instead. It's a tactic that a lot of people use, and you just have to use it right. Otherwise, you're going to be on the wrong end and lose 3 rounds in a row, and then that's it. You've pretty much lost the game. So it was a risk, and I think everyone knew it coming in, and we won a couple tournaments in a row, so we weren't really worried that we wouldn't win this one. But of course, we want to win everything. But yeah. So I think at that time we also focused on just winning the big ones. We just didn't think about winning the smaller ones leading up to this. We just wanted to win the big one again. It was a long way ahead though, but yeah. This was our 5th one that we won at Gamescom. And this was our last one with Fnatic. Yeah, I don't know. I was just convinced we were gonna. It was a tough one, but I was convinced we were gonna win this one as well. I mean, we played with SK and against the Brazilian team, Dexterity again, but all in all, I think we achieved what we wanted to achieve at this level with the team, and I think everyone really matured for this one. We knew how we were going to play. We've known each other for years now, and we spent so much time together for years. I mean, I think I spent more time with these people than my own mother, so we pretty much knew each other. We're all like brothers together. We hang out on our free time. We play together. We fail together. So, I mean, it was just one thing, and we were like a brotherhood. You know, we were all like real bros and brothers, and this was our last tournament, and it finally ended. And we were thinking, we're like, let's just go this tournament. Let's play the best we can. We had a really good run for a couple of years, for 4 years exactly, and let's just do it. Let's have fun. And luckily, we won. It was a great end to a good story, right?
Yeah, I think going into this one, we had so many other teams kind of trying to take us down, and we, like Daniel said, we'd already matured. We had the team in a position where we liked them. The dynamic was really there. So going into this tournament, we just said let's make history. Let's just win this last tournament and prove to everyone that we can do the impossible and actually do something that no one else has done before. And luckily we did it, and that's the only thing we really wanted to do there.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, this was the last one before our breakup, and then you can switch over to the last one. They went on to different teams. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was really emotional. I mean, because I picked these guys up in 2011. I mean, I've been with these guys forever, and we split to different teams. So when we decided to actually leave Fnatic, it was really tough. You know, it was tough to deal with. We all been a good family for so many years so they parted ways. They went into Overwatch instead, and another guy Eric went into Overwatch, a different team. We're still friends today. We're still hoping to build something good together, but right now other life priorities, such as I actually want another cat, and I'm working in Dubai, so that kind of takes priority right now of my life. I don't know about yours. How's your life?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think when we had won the last one, we had already decided before going there that it was going to be the last tournament in Battlefield. We all wanted to switch it up and go into Overwatch, and we kind of sat down and talked about it and decided that the best thing we can do is to start a brand new organization, which was reunited, and then sadly one player left and started playing for FaZe Clan instead. But yeah, we had that in the back of our minds all the time, and it was a really, really emotional time to kind of figure out what we were going to do and where we were going to go, and just who wants to be on what team, and what are we going to do now.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions? No questions at all? You have one. Can we give this guy a microphone? Can we give the people who have questions a microphone? Juliana, are you there? Or someone else? There we go. There you go. Can we give these guys a microphone so they can ask questions? Yeah, they're picking up a microphone for you, and it's going to be awesome. Hope you have some good questions.
There we go. Here comes the microphone.
So something that you said that the esports nowadays it's kind of Eurocentric. Do you think how much time will it take so it become like spread all over the world, such like, and we would have something like Olympic esport competition, like something that the whole world would take part?
I think you already have something like that, but in different fragmented areas. I mean, you have ESL Pro League is playing in Brazil. I think was it this weekend or was it last weekend? They still have a lot of tournaments in Brazil. There was one from ESL Pro League going on. I mean, they're going on all over the world. Every continent except for Africa. South Africa has some of it going on right now. Has big esports tournaments. Getting them together is mostly based on seeds. It's based on the tournaments that are being played. So I was working at ESL at that time as well, where they had teams from the United Arab Emirates, from Kuwait, from South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, like all these different places where you wouldn't think it's as big as it is. I think it'll take some time still. I think every market needs to mature for it to come to that country. But it's going in the right way. It's definitely going in the right way. So I think in a year or 2 years, it'll become more of a global phenomenon than it actually is today.
What exactly led the team to switch towards Overwatch instead of Battlefield 1 with the recent release? Like, what exactly changed that made the team go split out and go to Overwatch instead of Battlefield 1?
I can't really hear you. Can you say that again? In the microphone?
What exactly led the team to switch over to Overwatch instead of Battlefield 1 with the recent release?
You can do that one.
I think that I probably know why, because DICE took a market turn. Instead of doing a competitive game, they turned into a more casual game with Battlefield 1. Is that the reason in which the team switched out to Overwatch?
Yeah, so the reason we wanted to switch to Overwatch was mainly because we had played Battlefield for so long, and we wanted something new, right? Oh, is that your... Okay, cool. Yeah, so we really wanted something new. We looked a little bit at Battlefield 1. Like you said, it turned a little bit more into a market game that pleased the crowds and was more casual. But I think the main reason was we just wanted something new and refreshing. So going into Overwatch, we looked at it, we realized that this is going to be really different from everything else out there. And that's pretty much why we wanted to try it out and see how well we can do in that new game instead.
Cool. Go ahead.
Hi. Oh, so talking about Overwatch again, what do you guys think about in the latest BlizzCon? They announced the Overwatch League. They announced that it would be something more like a sport. It would be focused on cities and teams, and it would be more structured from the perspective of our actual esports scenery. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a good way to make sport business, or I don't know.
What do you think of Overwatch?
I mean, I play a lot of Overwatch myself.
I've never played Overwatch, by the way.
Yeah, no, he
I
doesn't
don't have
play.
I don't have a computer because I bought a car, and I don't priorities, right? I don't have a computer. Also because I moved to Dubai, and I didn't want to ruin my Overwatch experience by playing it on PS4 because no, right? Yeah, there you go. So Tim, back to you.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I mean, I play a lot of Overwatch, and I've been in esports and competitive gaming since 15 or so years ago. And I think the way that they're structuring the esports now with the seasons and actually creating like their own league, I think is really really cool. And I think it's the right way forward. So they're trying to mimic what Riot do with League of Legends in a way. They've already tried it out with both Heroes of the Storm and World of Warcraft before, doing these seasons that kind of lead up to a grand final at BlizzCon and so forth. And I definitely think that's the way forward, and I think it's a really good move. I think it gives the players a lot of smaller tournaments to play in the meantime, to practice, and then they have this massive sort of World Cup at BlizzCon that is really, really huge, and everyone is watching it, right? So I definitely think it's a good move. And I think it's a great move also for bringing in new players. Like we've seen a lot of players that have been playing on their own at home and that have become really high ranked and then get noticed and picked up by new teams as well. So I think it's a really good system.
Yeah, and one more thing about esports is that I think what drives esports is not the players itself. It's not the studios that are putting out these esports games. That's just a meta. I mean, they have to put a product out for people to play it. But I think what actually is bringing esports forward is the marketing behind it. As everyone's coming together, it's all the betting agencies. It's all the Valve is the best example of a publisher actually bringing esports forward. But and Riot, and that's pretty much it. That's how the market is going forward. How they market their games towards players. How they make sure everyone's included. It could be drops, packs, spectating. It could be anything that makes sure people are included. Because if you compare esports pre 2012. Where it was more of, if you're interested, you're going to play. Now everyone is actually playing an esport. If you play Counter-Strike, you are participating in an esports tournament. Every round you're playing. I think that's what they did pretty well. So esport is definitely mainstream. It's going to continue to grow in a mainstream way. So I think it's just going to get bigger all across the globe, wherever you are. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening.
Thanks.